All right, so I figure I would do a quick little tutorial on how to make a solid color motif for for the shawls that I make. This is actually my 4th version of the shawl, and I say version because every time I make these, I tend to make them a little bit different. I play around with how I want to join them or how I want to make them. I will say that after the first version of this, I have not changed how I do the full motif. But I had realized when doing the multiple tutorials for the Fiesta shawl that I never did one in a solid color, a full one in a solid color. So this one I'm working on. This one's for me. It's with some yarn that I got from Hobby Lobby on clearance. It's 100% cotton yarn. But yeah, I'm going to be doing it with the aqua one because I need, for my full motifs at this point, I need one full purple and one full blue. And then after that, I just need 6 half motifs. So I'm just going to try and fold this back up, stack it back up, and then we'll start on the motif. Just, there we go. Almost done. Okay. And for this, I will be using, I actually don't know what the yarn calls for. Let me go take a look since I don't have the little yarn wrapper, if you will. Okay. So the yarn is the Fundamental Cotton Aqua from Hobby Lobby. It's one of my clearance yarns, so I did pretty good. All right. So they recommend a 4mm hook, which is great because that's what I'm using. Let me just get this set up real quick. This yarn does not lend itself well to being a inside pull. It has to be an outside pull if I'm not going to cake it. So there we go. Okay, so let's get started. You can start with a magic ring. You can start with a slip stitch chain 4 and work in. I know that for some people it's difficult to do a magic ring, or maybe you know how to do a magic ring, magic circle, and you find that it comes undone. So this, as I call it, a faux magic circle, I'm sure there's other terminology for it because I know I'm not the first one to come up with it, right? There's really not anything new in crochet. There's just people rediscovering it all the time. So I'm going to make a little slip knot. And I want to have a long enough tail to do this sort of faux magic ring. I tend to want my tail, when I'm doing a weave in where I go multiple different directions, I want it to be kind of as long as my crochet hook. And this, let's see, you can see is a 4mm crochet hook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 4. This is going to count as the space where I'm going to crochet my first round into and also my first double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we can clearly see 1, 2, 3, and then there's 4. So I'm going to be working 11 double crochets into that first chain. This is, I would say, between an intermediate and an advanced pattern. Just because I'm probably not going to be explaining it maybe correctly. So you really have to be a pretty good visual learner when it comes to crochet. If you give me 1 second, I am going to adjust my lighting a little bit. There we go. Hopefully that's a little bit clearer. Okay, so I'm at 4 double crochet right now. 5, 6, 7, 1 second. There we go. 8, 9, 10. I'm going to move this now to this side. So my last 2 double crochets will just crochet over this, over both the tail and that single crochet start. So that was 11. Here's 12. I'm going to do a quick count. So 3, 6, 9, 12. Perfect. I'm going to slip stitch into that top of the chain, the 3 chain double crochet. So I'm going to slip stitch right into this one. Yep. All right. Now you can see that there's a fair bit of a hole, but we're going to deal with that after the second round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 3 up. That's going to count as our first double crochet in this corner. And then I'm going to work 2 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet into this spot. It's in between your last double crochet and your chain 3 double crochet from the previous round. So it's 1, 2, chain 1, and then work 3 more in there. And I chain 1 instead of doing a chain 2 or 3 because I don't need this to be a sharp corner. This is not a granny square start. I only need a chain 1. So it's going to be a soft square, if you will. I finished my 3 double crochet, so I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to count 3 from the previous round. So there's 1, 2, 3. In between the 3rd and the 4th, I'm going to work 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, chain 1. So that's 2, 3, chain 1, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, chain 1. Again, count 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3. So now I'm working between the 6th and the 7th double crochet from the previous round. If you need to, stitch markers may help, but you're just going to repeat that same pattern of double crochet 3, chain 1, double crochet 3. There we go. Chain 1. And lastly, count another 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3. So you're working between your 9th and your 10th double crochet from the previous round. Between them, not on top, but between them. So there is 3, chain 1, 2 double crochet, and then 3. Chain 1. And now you'll slip stitch to the top of your chain 3 that started this round. Now at this point, I'm going to pull up a good loop. I'm going to turn it around. Right now, this is the wrong side. This is the right side. On round 3, we're actually going to flip it. And this will be the wrong side. This will be the right side. And you'll see what I mean. This is the only time that you'll flip it when doing a solid color one. If you've watched my other videos when I go from the first color to the second color, so round 3 and 4 being worked in the second color of the motif, I don't flip it. And that's because I'm doing a color transition and it just makes sense. But I design this in a way that I don't have to weave in a lot of ends if I'm doing a solid color. So yeah. All right. So to turn this into like a faux magic ring, because let me show you as an example. Here's a completed one. Very, very noticeably, there's no gap. Like I could probably fit this needle through if I really pushed it. But I want this to look like that, or else it's going to be very apparent that I did something different with this one. There is one of the ones over here does have this start to it because I tried to film a video on a different day and it didn't pan out. So anyway, so what you're going to want to do is I can see where I've crocheted that 11th and 12th stitch or a double crochet over the yarn. So I'm going to keep following in that direction, and I'm just going to work my needle in through the posts of the double crochets. And I'm not going to pull it tight just yet. Work it as best as possible. There we go. Get these through. And I'm going to want to bring this all the way around until I get to the knot that started this. And I'm almost there because I can feel them coming up on that, the chain 3. So here we go. Have it all the way around. Now, this is where the magic happens, and unfortunately, you're not really going to see it because to help me get leverage and to keep the yarn from breaking, this is cotton yarn. It's triple stranded. Well, actually, it's probably more than that, but so it's very strong. I'm not worried about it breaking, but if you're doing this sort of faux magic ring with, say, Chanel yarn, you're going to want to make sure that you have this so you don't, like, you have this tension that I'm about to do. So that your yarn doesn't snap. But it's just easier for me to do this. I might be able to do it without, let's see. It's a lot harder for me to like do this because of muscle memory. Okay, I'm just going to pinch. All right, so look at that. Tiny little gap right there. But pull it tight. Bring your needle through just a few more in one direction. And then while making sure that the tension is kept, that it's really tight, you'll skip a post. So I've come out right underneath this post. I'm going to skip over that post and now work in the other direction, essentially locking the tension in place. I'm going to keep going to here. There we go. And then I'm actually working my way up through this double crochet post to further secure this so that if for some reason it unwinds a little bit, it won't unwind to the point where I'll lose that tension. And I will say that, you know, again, if you know how to do a magic ring, magic circle, I'm going to, for the sake of everything, I'm going to call it a magic circle going forward so I don't have to switch between the two. So if you're used to the magic ring terminology, I'm calling it magic circle from now on. But if in the event that, you know how to do a magic circle and you find that infrequently it undoes and you're not sure why, and you've done and you've had it go multiple ways, you thought you wove it in really well, I recommend switching over to this faux magic circle for a little bit. Because it really does provide both the polished look of the magic circle with the security that a starting, like working into that chain 1 does. So here we go. Remember, we did not start with a magic circle. We started with the chain. And it's honestly, I would say, indistinguishable. I would say, but I can actually tell there's a small little difference, and maybe it's just the fact that the way that I did this, but there's this like little bump. I guess if I turn it around, you see, yeah, there's a tiny little gap, but it's really, this is a fantastic way to get away with a look that is a magic circle. Anyway, now we're going to work on to round 3. And like I said, right now, this is the right side. This is the wrong side. This is where everything changes. So you're going to chain 3, or you could do a standing double crochet if you know how to do that. So I've chained 3. I'm going to turn it, and I always do this with this. I'm going to turn the right to the left. I feel like it creates it a little bit easier for me to get into the chain space up here when I work all the way around, as opposed to flipping it from the left to the right. So I do right to left. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work, this counts as our first double crochet. I'm going to work 3 double crochet into this chain 1 space from the previous round. If I can do it right. There we go. So that's 1, 2. Another reason why I call this between like intermediate and advanced is because I'm not going to be crocheting slow in this. I mean, I will try my best. Oops, let's back up. See, I forgot about this. Okay, so I've done my my chain 3 is my starting double crochet. I've done my 3 double crochet, and then I chain 2, and you'll need this for the next round, obviously. So now in this very next chain 1 space, I'm going to double crochet another 4. I'm going to chain 2, move on to the next chain 1 space, repeat the same pattern over and over. Very simple. This is a very quick round because you're just working double crochets into already established spaces from the previous round. I love this round because I don't have to look at it. Simply because of my muscle memory with double crochets and the fact that this hand can, of course, feel these gaps, because to me, they're noticeable gaps. So it's a lot easier for me to crochet without looking at this part. There's my chain 2, moving on to the next chain 1 round, chain 1 space. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 2. Next chain 1 space from the previous round, work those 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Work 2 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Work 2 double crochets. We're almost at the end. 1. I think I just said work 2 double crochets. I meant work 2 chain. It's early in the morning. You got to forgive me. All right, chain 1, 2, and here's our last double crochet 4. So in that chain 1 space, you work another 4 double crochets. Chain 2. And now we're going to slip stitch back into the top. So here's where I've started varying. I guess this is the only variation that I do between how I did it originally and how I'm doing it for this one when it comes to the full motifs. I've taken to just slip stitching in between the first and second double crochet because it will not matter. There's really no way to even tell that you've done that. And that way I don't have to deal with fiddling around with getting the hook into the chain. So I've done this. What I do now, and you can either pull it up to the height of a half double crochet or just chain 1. This does not count as a stitch. This is just to get you the right height. So I've done chain 1. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to work in between. And all of the stitches in this round, except for those that are being worked on top of the chain 2 space, all of the other stitches are going to be worked in between the double crochet posts. So I'm going to work a half double crochet in here. Then I'm going to work a half double crochet in here. And don't get ahead of me. Now I'm going to chain 2. 1, 2. This is where it's a little complicated. I'm going to work a slip stitch from here into the first chain. So there's my slip stitch, and I'm going to work another half double crochet in between these 2. It creates a little bump. We'll take a look at it in just a second. So now I'm doing in between the 3rd and the 4th double crochet this repeat, I'm working one last half double crochet. Now to complete the full repeat on this round, let's see, 4, 5, round 5, I think, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, round 4, sorry. We're going to work 2 half double crochets into the chain 2 space from the previous round. So, I'm just going to talk about this, right? You're going to work a half double crochet. This is how the repeat goes. A half double crochet here, half double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch in first chain, half double crochet in between your second and your third double crochets from the previous round. You're going to work a half double crochet between your third and your fourth, and then you're going to work 2 half double crochets in your chain 2 space. And you're going to repeat that all the way around till you get back to your first half double crochet. So I'm going to try and verbalize what I'm doing, but I will unfortunately be going a little fast. So there's my half double crochet. Now I half double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch. I will say if you're finding it difficult to do the slip stitch into that first chain, you don't have to do it. You'll still get pretty close to what the look is if you just chain 2 and then immediately bring your, half double crochet back in there. It just creates a little visual bump. You're not going to really use it in the other round except for like I guess you call it a landmark. And you'll see what I mean when I get to that. But anyway, so here we are on the next repeat. So half double crochet between the first and second, half double crochet between the second and third, chain 2, slip stitch into the first chain. Trying to make sure I didn't split the yarn. Okay, half double crochet in again, and then half double crochet between the third and the fourth. Half double crochet in the 2 chains in the chain 2 space, and now we repeat again. So half double crochet between the first and second, half double crochet between the second and third, chain 2, slip stitch into that first chain, half double crochet again between the second and the third, half double crochet between the third and the fourth, and half double crochet in the chain 2 space. And one last time I will verbally repeat. Half double crochet between the first and the second, half double crochet between the second and the third, chain 2, slip stitch into that first chain, half double crochet again between the second and the third, half double crochet between the third and the fourth, and then half double crochet twice in the chain 2 space. And now I will just work my way through here. And you'll see that I do tend to pinch the yarn, which helps me get leverage when I get to the to that slip stitch. I'll try and show it a little bit better when I get to the next one in this repeat. So in case you are struggling with the slip stitch. So here we go. This part's pretty easy. Now what I do is I sort of put my finger underneath this whole affair. I'm going to pinch with my nail. See, I've pinched. And then that helps keep all the yarn in place, all the tension, so that I can perform that slip stitch without too much trouble. Coming up on that last repeat for me. My phone camera isn't that good right now. Sorry for the quality. All right. So I'm going to work my last 2 half double crochets in the chain 2 space. And then now, because I'm not counting that first chain as a half double crochet, we can clearly see the top 2 bars that I need to work into to do my slip stitch. So there's my slip stitch. Now, this stitch right here, we're not going to do anything with in this next row. It's going to be skipped over. So I can't start that next round in this stitch. So I actually have to go to the first half double crochet that I worked between the second and third double crochets. So I'm going to slip stitch into that one. Whoops. All right, now here's where I would make sure that I have a stitch marker. And it'll make it a lot easier for you to slip stitch into when finishing the next round. So what we're going to do, now reminder, I have slip stitched into my starting half double crochet. I then slip stitched into the next stitch. And now I'm going to begin the 5th round. So I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's see, yep. And I'm going to take my stitch marker. And I'm actually, if you turn it slightly sideways, you'll see there's a bump in your yarn. So there's 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take this and just put it in that bump. lock it in place. And you'll see why that, to me, I feel like it's important when we get back around. But chain 2 more. If you don't want to do it, no problem. If you love the way that you do your slip stitch, this is just a personal preference of mine for me. You don't have to do this. It's not a big deal. But that being said, if you're not going to do this, then all you need to do is chain 5. That's all you need to remember. And that counts as your double crochet plus a chain 2. And the chain 2 will be important in the next round when we work a lot of our double crochets. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a double crochet in the 3rd half double crochet from that previous round. So right at the end of that bump, that slip stitch bump we made, I'm going to work in a double crochet. Oops. So I was looking at the little viewfinder. There we go. So there's my double crochet. And now you can kind of see that bump just serves as a little landmark. It's a little decorative picket or whatever it's called. All right, so then next you're going to chain 2. You're setting up your spaces for the next round. You're going to work a double crochet. Now, looking at this, from this point to this point, we have our 4th half double crochet from the previous round that's worked into the double crochet cluster. We've got our 2 that sit on, I like to think of this as like a bridge. It's my bridge half double crochets. And then we get back to the other repeat. So in this, and I think this will help if I actually mark this out with stitch markers in the next section. So not in the section I'm about to work, but in the next one so you can visually see it, where I'm going to be working. So there we go. Ugh, that got locked up. Okay. So I've just put a stitch marker in the start of the bump. So the half double crochet before the bump, the half double crochet after the bump. And then I'm going to put a stitch marker in the bridge half double crochet. So actually we will be working into both of the bridge half double crochet. Look at this. I've managed to lock my locks. All right. So I'm also going to, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to do this stitch here, and then I will show you what a proper repeat looks like when we're not starting it with the double crochet. I will explain those. So I'm going to go into that bridge half double crochet, the one that comes after the first one. So this is the 2nd half double crochet you worked over that chain 2 space. You're going to work a double crochet. So now from the double crochet after the bump, we've done chain 2 and then a double crochet. I'm going to want to chain 1, and I'm going to do a crossover into that first half double crochet that formed that bridge. And I'm just going to work over the double crochet that I just made. And this creates a nice tiny little space. I want to say that these are called cross double crochets, but I'm not working in front of the double crochet. Can you? Absolutely. Will it change the motif? Maybe slightly. But if you work in front of it instead of over it like I've just done, it's not the end of the world. Keep it in your project. This is not an official written pattern. I've been changing it up every time I've done it. So whatever works for you, just don't stress about the small stuff. All right. So now we finished that. And I'm going to want to chain 2. So the only time you're chaining 1 is when you do this like cross double crochet. So I've chained 2. I'm going to work into this red stitch marked stitch, a double crochet, going to chain 2, work another half or another double crochet into this one. This is that half double crochet immediately after the bump. So you formed the bump in the previous round. You did your half double crochet. That's where I am working this. Okay. So there we go. We've sort of said, hey, look at this little mountain. We framed it for you. We took a picture and we framed it. So you've got a frame around the mountain. Chain 2. Now, I'm not working into the red stitch marker stitch. This is the last half of that cross double crochet. So I'm going to work a double crochet into this, the orange stitch marker. So that's the part that finishes the bridge between the repeats. So there we go. I chain 1 and take out the stitch marker. And then I'm going to do a double crochet in this one. So when I'm talking about double crocheting over, it means I basically incorporate the previous double crochet within the post of the double crochet that I'm making. When I say crocheting in front of, this is what that would look like if you're more familiar with that. I'm going to sort of move this double crochet out of the way, and I'm going to insert my hook. I can do it from the front to the back to the front. I think people do it different ways. Maybe, let's see here. Yeah. So that's what that looks like. Then if I do back to front, or sorry, front to back, which way did I do this? I brought the yarn in front to back. Oh my gosh, one second. There we go. Okay. If I do it the other way, I'm inserting my hook from the front. It takes a little bit of maneuvering, pull through. So either way, anyway, and then I'm just going to show you what this looks like when I move on. Whoops, there's my 2 double crochet. I'm going to undo all this because that particular style isn't my preference. But that's what you end up with. So it's really not a noticeable difference, and it's not going to impact your motif because you're going to be working in the chain 1 space. So whether you want to cross in front of it to give it a little bit of a 3-dimensional pop, or whether you want to do what I've done, which is incorporate that double crochet into the post of the closing of the cross double crochet, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. So anyway, working that double crochet, there we go. Chain 2. And now we repeat. So we go into that half double crochet immediately before that little mountain. We chain 2. Right after the mountain, we want to frame it. It's a beautiful picture. So I work a double crochet into that half one. Frame that little mountain. And then chain 2 again. Looking at the bridge, we're going to want to skip over the first part of the bridge, go right to the end. Work that double crochet into that half. Chain 1. Now we realize we didn't actually start the bridge, so we got to go back. And we do a double crochet over. Chain 2. Again, double crochet right before the mountain. Chain 2. Double crochet immediately after the mountain to finish that picture frame. Okay, chain 2. And go to the end of the bridge. Chain 1. Go back to the start of the bridge. Do that double crochet. And then chain 2. So just keep repeating this. You frame out the picture of your mountain. Then you go to the end of the bridge and backtrack. Now remember, the only time that you're doing a chain 1 is while you're working on those 2 half double crochets in the what I've been referring to as the bridge. Everything else is going to be chain 2 space. So when you think about your repeat, if you consider your repeat from the start of the bridge to the end of the mountain, well, let me tell you what that means. If you consider this to be the start of your repeat, so then this would be the end of your repeat, you have a chain 1 space, so 1 chain 1 space, and 3 chain 2 spaces. So that is how the pattern should go. 3 chain 2 spaces followed by a chain 1 space. All right, so let's go finish up this repeat, and then we can get on to the next row. I only have about 26 more minutes in which I can record this, but I don't want to make any shortcuts. So if need be, I will need to make a part 2 at some point. I'm hoping I can avoid that, because after this, it gets really, really simple. This is just building up that pretty structure. And especially the next round will be so simple. I will show 2 repeats, but then after that, I'm just gonna fly with my crochet, if you will. Here we are, framing out that mountain. Chain 2. Finish the frame. Chain 2. I go to the bridge. Chain 1. Back over there. And now we're back at our beginning. Chain 2. Now this is why I put the slip stitch in. Or not the slip stitch, the stitch marker. I can very easily see now where I want to put in my hook. And this basically turns that chain 3 into a double crochet. So now I've actually got it not through that top chain loop, but I have it through both loops. Just going to pull this, and voila. You don't have to do it. It's not going to change it's not going to materially change how this ends up looking. It really isn't. So it's just a personal preference that I developed over the course of doing these motifs. Let me take a sip real quick. Oh, excuse me. This needs to stretch a little. Okay. All right. Moving on. This is where we start the easy rounds. Just to kind of show you where we're at right now with this motif. This is like we finished kind of the decorative round. Your last decorative round before the end is, of course, your... Oh, there's a bird. Sorry, distracted. I can't honestly, for the life of me, tell you what these are right now. But these are just sets of 7 double crochets crocheted into a particular stitch, right? So how this next round is going to go, we're going to be working into those chain 2 and chain 1 spaces. Very easy. I'm going to be doing 3 double crochets into every chain 2 space. And I'm going to be crocheting 1 double crochet into every chain 1 space. And that's it. That's the round. So for here, you can do a couple different things depending on how you like to start your round. This is not anything that will really impact. You can do a chain 3 and have that count as your first double crochet. You can do a standing double crochet, or you can do a 2 or 3 stacked single crochet to make the appearance of a double crochet. It's whatever your preference is. It really does not impact the final look, because for someone to notice that, one, they would have to be someone who's made this pattern many, many times. And honestly, I cannot tell you, because I've mixed up. I've done it like every time I've done one of these motifs. Sometimes I'm like, I'll do a standing double crochet. Oh, I'm too lazy for that. I'm going to go do a chain 3. You know, it's just, I've changed it and I can't tell. And I'm the one who did it. So if I'm going to do a standing double crochet, I pull my hook up to about the height of a double crochet. And then I bring my hook, I pinch the yarn so it doesn't move. I bring my hook behind, I pull around that, pull through like a normal double crochet. I can let go at this point. And there we have basically a standing double crochet. So now I have the proper little loops up top. And that's how I'm going to do this one, because it's a little bit easier for me personally to work in the next round. It's whatever your preference is. Maybe if I have time, I do have to do my last purple motif. So maybe I can do a video where I focus specifically on this round and how it would look differently between a standing double crochet, a chain 3, and a stacked double crochet. But now, this is my first double crochet. I'm going to work 2 more double crochets into this spot. And that's it. That's what you do. So here's another chain 2 space. I'm going to do those 3 double crochets into this spot. And now I come to my first cross double crochet where I have my chain 1 space. And like I said before, just 1 double crochet right in between that V. And that's it. You just follow this pattern all the way around. You do 3 double crochet in every chain 2 space, and you do 1 double crochet in every chain 1 space. So I'm just going to do that all the way around. You will have to bear with me because I'm not fancy with the video editing software to make it so that you don't have to be bored. I will upload this video this morning, but then hopefully later today or maybe tomorrow I can put timestamps in my description so that way you can just skip forward to the end of this round, because this is just a really, really easy round. I mean, I'm actually looking outside right now because it's a really pretty sunrise. And for me, and this is not for everybody, right? And I'm not saying that you're not advanced or you're not intermediate or you're not an expert crocheter if you can't not look when you're crocheting. But for this particular stitch, I am able to do it without looking because I've made so many double crochets in the course of my nearly 13 years of crocheting. So I started crocheting a few months after I got married, actually. Figured I'd take it on. So that's how I know how long I've been crocheting for. So I just think of my anniversary year. But yeah, this is one of those ones. I mean, one of the first proper blankets. In fact, the first 2 blankets I ever made. One was a granny square double crochet cluster blanket. And then my second blanket I ever made was my first baby blanket. I am still friends with the recipient on Facebook. I would watch her husky when she was back on the mainland when I was stationed in Hawaii. And I made a baby blanket because she was expecting. And so it was my second ever blanket. She told me he still has it. And she's like, "That's your second blanket?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Wow, it's held up really, really well." And I'm very glad to hear that because I did not know a lot about crochet. Although I will say, thankfully, I didn't do anything fancy. It wasn't a granny square blanket. It was just, a starting chain, foundation chain, and then just back and forth, double crochets. I alternated. It's one of my favorite baby blanket patterns, but I alternate the double crochet row with single crochet and chain 2 row. Very easy to work up. And the whole thing I have actually, I can do that. Once I get past the foundation and the first row, I don't have to look at the blanket because my muscle memory is that good. But anything else, I typically have to look at if it's not double crochet. Or I should say, if it's not double crochet where I have built-in spaces. So like a granny square blanket is easy because you can feel with your hands the natural spaces that you need to be working your double crochets into. If I'm doing, say, a double crochet chevron blanket, which I'm working on one right now for my friend's mother for her 75th birthday, that one I do need to look at because, of course, with a chevron blanket, and I'm not working in decreases, I'm just skipping stitches. And because I'm skipping stitches and I'm working into the top of the double crochet, the bars, basically, I need to look on occasion way more frequently because I have to make sure I'm getting it into the right spot. But anyway, there we go. This round is done. So here's kind of why I did it this way. You can see, although it did twist a little, and I think it's just because I was chatting, but you can see pretty clearly the top, how it looks like a normal double crochet V-stitch or V, whatever it is, the top 2 bars. So I'm just going to insert my hook, slip stitch. I'm going to chain 1. Your chain 1 does not count as a stitch in this round. I'm going to work a half double crochet right back into where I slip stitched. And that is the first half double crochet on this round. Now here's how this repeat goes, because there is a repeat, but it's pretty simple. I'm going to be working in the next 6 stitches And how the pattern goes, this is my first half double crochet. So in total, your repeat is going to be 7. You're going to work 3 half double crochet into each of the round's previous stitches. Then you're going to work 2 half double crochet in one. Then you're going to work 2 half double crochet in the next 2. And then you're going to work 2 half double crochet in the last one of your, we'll call it 7, your 7 double crochets. If you've kept up with me thus far, we have 2 increases built into that, which means you've just turned 7 stitches from the previous round into 9 stitches. So here we go. There's our first half double crochet. Now we go to the next stitch, another half double crochet, go to the next stitch, our third half double crochet. Now in the 4th stitch that we're working in, we're going to work in our 4th and our 5th half double crochet. So this is where we have an increase. In the next stitch, we work 1 half double crochet. In the next stitch, we work 1 half double crochet. And in the last of this repeat, we're going to work 2 half double crochets. I do it in this manner. I think as long as you space out your half double crochet increases relatively evenly, you should have no problem. So if you do 2 half double crochets and a half double crochet increase, and then 2 half double crochets and a half double crochet increase, and then 1 more half double crochet, it should look structurally fine. I highly recommend not working 2 increases back to back. I also don't recommend doing 1 at the beginning and 1 at the end, because you're going to run into the fact that we're starting another repeat. You're still going to have 2 increases close together. So that's why I recommend doing 3 increase, 2 increase, but dealer's choice, right? However it works for you, if you find that it still makes a circle. So I finished my half double crochet parts of this round, or this repeat. Now I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to skip the stitch underneath, and I'm going to work my first half double crochet into the next one. So I'm skipping one of the double crochets from the previous round, and I'm working a half double crochet into the next one. And that creates a little spot. And now I continue on with my repeat. So I work a half double crochet, next stitch, half double crochet, next stitch is my increase. So there's 1, there's 2, next stitch is 1 half double crochet, the next stitch is 1 half double crochet, and in the next stitch we have 2 half double crochets. If it's easier for you, you can use stitch markers to indicate where you're going to be doing your half double crochets, but we're just doing this whole repeat all the way around. So now that I've finished my last half double crochet increase, I've chained 1, I'm creating that little keyhole, skipping that double crochet from the previous round, I work into the next one. There we go. And so that's 1, 2, 3, then increase, 1 and 2 in the same space. Now as regular, there's 1, 2, and then in the last, we're going to crochet our increase. I'm going to change up how I'm going to call them so you can kind of get an idea of how the math is on this, or how many stitches you should see at the end of a repeat in case you do decide to change up how you do your half doubles. So I've chained 1, I'm skipping that 1 from the previous round, and so now I'm just going to count my half doubles. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So each of your half double crochet portion of your repeat should come to 9 half double crochets. Chain 1, and now I'm just going to work my way around without being too verbal as to what I'm doing, because this is very repetitive. At the end of this round, after I slip stitch into that starting one, we'll go over how many of these you should expect to see. So And in terms of time, so obviously this is a little bit faster for me because the pattern is in my head. It's in my head well and truly now, that's for sure. Because this is the 4th one that I've made. And I have been recording like the Fiesta one I was working on. So I think it would be hard pressed for me to forget. I really like if I made this into a written pattern, 1, I would give it away for free, but 2, I would be highly concerned that someone would take it, repackage it, run it through AI or whatever to remove any identifying features, if you will, and then try and sell it. So, and I don't want people to profit off of what I'm trying to give away for free. It's one of the reasons why I'm not strictly writing it down. I probably could figure it out, but yeah. Anyway, we're almost done. But when it comes to the speed of these motifs, it takes me about between 40 to 45 minutes to finish a motif. I did change how I finish my motifs for this shawl to make it easier for me so I don't have a lot of rounds or ends to weave in. I was at the point where each motif I was having to weave in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I was having to weave in 10 ends. I changed it, and hopefully I'll be able to show y'all. I changed it so I only have to weave in 2. I am so happy that I only have to weave in 2. And I only have to weave in 2 if I can remember to not cut my thread at the end. And I'll kind of show you what I mean by that because I'm going to try and join this before I complete this. So you'll at least be able to see how I do my join. Okay, so now I'm on the last bit. This is my last repeat. I'm doing my 1 half double, 2 half double, 3 half double, my half double increase, 1 half double, 2 half double, and now you can see I'm left with 2 stitches, which is perfect because this stitch right here ends our last half double increase. Chain 1, we skip this one, and we have made it. I'm just gonna pop that in right there. There we go. So now this is what you should see. Let me readjust myself. Geez, really? My legs. All right. A lot of loose skin. Okay. So I've actually never counted these, so we're all going to just do it together. So starting with where my hook is, that helps me keep track of where I started from. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we should have at this point 10 of these little keyhole spots. This next round is going to be double crochets, and it is the last round before we do those bumps. So this is also a very easy repeat. We actually won't be doing any increases, and like we won't be doing multiple double crochets into one spot, but we will be utilizing this here and the hole. If you struggle with what I'm going to show you when I get to this first spot, it's okay. You don't need to do it the way I do. You just need to make sure that your stitch count is okay. So you have the option of just working 2 double crochets into this spot. Because let me tell you, no one's going to notice and it will not impact your end result of your motif. I know because I've had to do that before. So here we go. I'm going to chain 3, or you can do a standing double crochet or a stacked double crochet, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to chain 3 here because this is where it really doesn't matter to me. This counts as your first double crochet. So now, these are your 9 half doubles from the previous round. This is your first, so you should need to work only 8 more in this way. So here we go. Just normal standard double crochets. Now, if you see, there's a weird little gap here because it's a chain, but it's not going to impact it. It really isn't because everything's going to get a little closer. If you don't like that, then I recommend a standing double crochet. So that was 1 double crochet. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you can see there I am on my 8. So right now we have 9. We have 1 double crochet in each of the previous rounds half double crochet. You now are at your little keyhole spot. You could do this. There's 3 different ways to do this. The first way is you work in this one and you work in a double crochet. I'm going to show you all 3. So there's 1. And then I'm going to work a double crochet into the spot. If I do this, I cannot work 1 into here because that is what this is basically solved. Because now, if you're keeping count, I'm at 11 double crochets. Each of these 10 repeats should only have 10. So this is actually the first double crochet for the next repeat. If you can't get your hook in there, which I recommend, just skip it because I typically don't do it that way. I have done it before, which is why I even bring it up as an option because maybe that's what you prefer. But I will finish this repeat by just working a standard double crochet into that chain 1 spot. Then what I typically do is I work a double crochet into that first. Sometimes it's referred to as like the hidden stitch when you're doing granny squares because it kind of gets hidden. But this is technically that first half double crochet. This is the bars for it. So you're actually working into that half double crochet. So you have this as an option. And of course, this double crochet starts the first of your 10 in your repeat over here. And lastly, if you're really struggling getting it into that first half double crochet for the repeat, just work your second double crochet into the chain 1 space. You skip this and you start working into the second half double crochet. It is not going to impact how your motif looks at the end. There's only a very small, subtle difference, which you probably wouldn't even be able to see, really. See, it's just, they're both together, but it's just this happens to be in that stitch. So whichever works best for you. If you really, really want to get the look of the way I'm doing it and not have a little bit of a gap there, then by all means, do it the way that I prefer to do it. But augment it, make it whatever's easiest for you. But so this is the first double crochet of my next repeat, and I'm going to work my 10 all the way through. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and now your 10th is just worked in the chain 1 space, if that's what you decided you wanted to do. So at this point, I now have 20 double crochets when you include that chain 3. I need to get 80 more, and that's kind of boring. Also, I am going to run out of time. Because this is a little bit more of a complicated row. You would think it wasn't, but it is. But let me check the time real fast, and I'll see, maybe I can finish this up. Whoops. Okay. You know what? It shouldn't take me more than a half hour to wrap this up. So we'll go for it. I am, however, at this point, I'm not going to be too vocal, and I am going to go pretty fast because this round it's a very easy round. It's just double crochet in each, and then you do 1 or 2 in the chain 1 space. You do 2 only if you're not going to work into that first half double crochet from the previous round's repeat. Yeah. So there we go. That makes 30. But because I've done this so often, it's become a lot easier for me to work in that first half double crochet. Now, I will say that the problem with this round is that I end up with 100. And you would think that that would be okay, because the next round does repeats, but the repeats are technically done in 6 stitches. And I need a total of 16 in all. And that gets me to, 96? 96. I only need 96 stitches for my next round. So I have to ditch 4 stitches. And I've tried it before, I don't like it. I have tried to ditch 4 stitches in this round, and I don't like it. It keeps it from being symmetrical. You could decrease it in a way that is symmetrical, and then you don't have to worry about it in the next round. But honestly, the next round is so easy to basically remove those 4 stitches that I just keep doing it in the final round, and you can't tell, which is the great part about the way that I remove those 4 additional stitches. So this is a little bit of math when I was creating this based off of the visual references that I had. If you have heard about it, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. It's on my channel. I'm sure I've referenced it a bit. But a teacher from my kids' school had a shawl that they had bought from a secondhand store, and they had wanted to see if I could make a type of it, but in a different color, because she would have preferred a different color. She likes warm, neutral colors. And the shawl that she got was black. She wanted it in taupe. So she let me have the shawls reference. I took pictures of the motifs. I ran it through Google Lens to see if there was any sort of pattern that it was referencing. I couldn't find anything. And I was like, okay, well, because if there was a pattern out there, I was going to buy the pattern, make it easy for me, right? Couldn't find it. So I spent quite a long time looking at the motif, trying to figure out how I would make it, trying to figure out like how many chains did they work here, because they had to work chains. How did they do this part? Yada, yada, yada. And then when I got to this last part of the round, I just could not figure out. It was basically around this point. I couldn't really figure out if they did halves or doubles. It was very, because it's black yarn, it was a little hard to tell, right? So I knew that between this round and the ending round, I needed to have it mathematically in a way that I could work in 16 of those 7 double crochet bumps. Shells. Maybe they're shells. Probably shells. And so doing a bit of math and working it out, I got it to the point where it would make a really nice symmetrical circle, but it ended with 100. And I didn't need 100 because each of these bumps, the repeats from single crochet, skip 2, work 7 double crochet, skip 2, that is 6 stitches that I'm utilizing from the previous round. 6 times 16, you got 96. Is that right? I'm not sure. My head hurts. 6 times 6, you got 36. 36, 6 and 10 is 60. So yeah, 96. So yeah, I had 4 extra stitches and I needed to get rid of them. And I did it kind of wonky when I was doing the first. I actually was not doing it right, per se, when I was doing it for the teacher's one, but you couldn't tell. I ended up standardizing it near the end, and then for the other shawls that I've made since then, I have standardized it. So I will show you my complicated standardization technique here. So I finished this round. We're now on to the second to the last round. And I say second to the last round. It can be your last round if you like weaving in ends. If you don't like weaving in ends and you want to try and join it the way that I join it, then this next round is the second to the last round. Or if you accidentally forget and you cut the yarn like I do on occasion, then this next round will be the last official round. So I've slip stitched into the top. I'm going to chain 1. This does not count as your first stitch. and then just in the same one, and you technically don't have to. You could actually slip stitch into this one to make it look nicer, which I think that's what I'm going to do, because I will end up skipping the stitch when I wrap up. So I'm just going to slip stitch into here. I'm going to chain one, and I'm going to do a single crochet. Now, I skipped 2 double crochets from the previous round, and in the third double crochet, I'm going to work 7 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, what I'm going to do next, I only do a total of 4 times throughout this whole pattern. And what's great is I have 4 extra stitches I need to get rid of. I'm going to be doing 16 of these bumps, which means it's evenly divisible by 4. So every 4 shells, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to skip 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm putting a stitch marker in here just to help it be a little bit easier for me to visually count where I need to do my next skip. So this is saying, hey, I put a skip here. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to work a single crochet into that 4th double crochet. Now I'm going to skip 2. I'm going to work my 7 double crochet into this spot. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And now I will just skip 2. So skip 1, 2, work a single crochet into that 3rd one. And I'm going to do this until I've completed my 4th one of the 7 double crochets between having put the stitch marker in. And that's why the stitch marker is there. So my brain can basically turn off and go, yep, we just need to skip 2 here because we're only on shell number 2. So yeah, same thing. You're going to work 7 double crochets into this spot. I'm at 5 now. There's 6. And then here's 7. Skipping 2 and 2 only, I do a single crochet. Skipping 2 and 2 only, I do the 7 double crochets. And this will now make bump or shell number 3 since we placed that stitch marker. So still, I'm going strong. I'm not really having to use much of my brain except to count to 7 over and over and over again. And I will routinely get to 6 and then have to count to make sure that I need one more. Skipping 2 and only 2, I work in a single crochet into that 3rd. And now I'm on my 4th one. I don't skip 3, I only skip 2. So skip 2 and then I work my 7 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, so here is where we have a repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to decrease or delete, if you will, a stitch. So this is where I'm going to skip my next 3. I'm not going to put the stitch marker in just yet. 1, 2, 3. Now I work a single crochet into that 4th spot. Take my stitch marker, and this just lets me, future me, know, hey, this is where you last removed a stitch. So I've now removed 2 stitches. I only need to remove 2 more. But wait, you say, you have more than half of it left to go. That's okay. I'm going to be removing one right about here, removing one right about here, I think. And then that's where the 4th one is. So let's just trust the process and see where it takes us. So skipping 2 and 2 only, I'm going to work my 7 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Going to skip 2, work a single crochet, skip 2, work 7 double crochet. And we'll just repeat until we have 4 more of these bumps. A total of 4 of these bumps from the last stitch marker, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, skip 2 and only 2, single crochet, skip 2 and only 2, 7 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Skipping only 2, because we just finished our third bump. And skipping only 2, we now are working our 7 double crochet into the 4th bump of the repeat. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I skip 3, remove another stitch, putting in, oh, nope, I want it to be in much more pop color. Go. All right. Here we go. So 2 and only 2, we then do our 7 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Skipping 2 and only 2, we do a single crochet. Skipping 2 and only 2, we do a double crochet, our 7 double crochets. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Skip 2, only 2, single crochet. Skip 2, 7 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Skip 2, only 2, single crochet. Skip 2 and 7 double crochet, which this will make our 4th bump since the last stitch marker. Oh, I just lost one. And we are almost, there's 4, 5, 6, and 7. Here's where we're skipping 3. Let's just double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we skip 3, single crochet, and I'm just going to place that stitch marker so we can visually see how I've spaced out my decreases. Ta-da! So there we go. It is equal. I recommend you do something like this. If you forget and you don't want to frog back, it's not the end of the world. I just highly recommend not doing all 4 decreases at one spot, or else you will end up with it looking kind of like that. So definitely want to even it out. And then once I take out the stitch markers, you should be able to see. You really can't tell where the decreases happen. But at this point, you no longer need to worry. You just skip 2 each time. So after I'm done with this one, and right now I'm on my 4th double crochet, once I'm done with this one, it's just skip 2. Oh man, those kids scare me. They woke up, they didn't come in here. They turned on Genevieve's Playhouse on YouTube. And so I'm hearing a random male's voice. I actually like Genevieve's Playhouse. Out of all the kids' content out there, I like it when he's not, I know in the beginning with him and his daughter, he was opening, not to go on a sidebar, but he would open up toys and play with them, kind of like how Ryan's World did, but you would never see him or his daughter, which was great. It was just their hands playing with it. But he had pivoted to where he does like little videos or whatever. I think that's great content. It's just showing, hey, you already have these toys. Let's do some imaginative play with it. And while I would prefer my kids do the imaginative play, I will say that from those elements, the kids have taken it. So when they're not watching, any YouTube, the Genevieve's Playhouse YouTubes, they are in their room, like reenacting or coming up with their own stories based off of what they see. And so I appreciate his content. It's not trying to shove toys down the kid's throat like some other content creators. All right. So anyway, so there's my 7. I'm going to skip my 2. But anyway, for all the rest of these repeats, you just skip 2. You don't even have to worry. You've already removed your 4, and you'll know that you did it right when you come to the end. So let's just keep this going strong. We've got 4, 5, 6, 7, skip. All right, so here you should have 5 stitches. 5 stitches left. You got 2, and then I'm going to work my 7 in here, and there's your last 2 before your single crochet. Remember, I did a slip stitch thing, so this looks a little wonky, but no one's going to know. All right, so skipping those 2, I'm working my last little 7 double crochet shell right here. I will say these motifs typically take me less than an hour to make, but in total you're making 16. And then that's nothing, that's not even including the half motifs you'd have to make. You have to make 8 of those. And then doing all the joins with like the black yarn, and then doing the border. And then if you're doing tassels, doing the tassels. So there's a lot of time investment in this. There's a lot. I mean, 24 hours in total is not an unreasonable assumption. So keep that in mind should you be asked to make something. If you end up making one of your own and then someone asks you, oh, can you make me one? People can buy cotton shawls, though they wouldn't be hand crocheted. And if they were, then, and they were affordable, they wouldn't be from a ethical source. But keep that in mind. My Fiesta shawl, I would not sell for anything less than $300 because that one takes even more motifs. It's very colorful. The yarn is more expensive. But I think it's a and that's not, it doesn't compensate me for my time. I'll tell you that. Even if my time was minimum wage, $300 with my materials does not compensate. But it is a fun thing for me to do. People would still balk at that price. I did have someone offer me $300 for the Fiesta shawl, but it was for my friend. So they didn't get it. All right. So if you are like me sometimes and you forget and you end up snipping it, well, now you've got an extra end to weave in. But I'm going to show you how I've been joining these. So I'm just going to plan out. What's great about this is, especially with this particular yarn, I don't have to block it. I know many people talk about blocking work, but it lays flat. It's perfectly symmetrical the way I need it to be. So after the first setup of blocking that I did for the teacher's one, and I did that because I didn't space these out evenly. And so some of them were a little wonky. So I did do blocking on that for that reason, but I'm not going to do blocking here. What I am going to do is show you how I join it. So here's my motif, or my shawl that I've been doing most of. I need to really quickly figure out where this one's going to go, so please bear with me. I've got to hold it up so I can see. There's the top. So, okay. Because I have a little diagram of how I'm doing this. I'll show you. It's so professional, so well done. Oh yeah, here's my daughter's cat. She was making she was originally making a cartoon, and then she just went with math, and then she drew a little kitty and did some math over there. But this is my layout. So I have purple, blue, purple, blue, blue, and then I'm probably going to do a little bit of blue up here, and then the whole way around is going to be black. So that was my 6th teal one. And that is going to go, let me see here. So this is my top 1, 3, 5. Okay, so right here. It's going to go right here. I'm going to make this be the first place where it connects here. And all of these have the same setup as this. I've been joining as I go. So my very first motif, I just did all the way around without any interruptions, without joining anything. I basically pre-built in the join spaces because I was sick and tired of weaving in ends. So I was like, I'm going to do this, and I don't think it's going to impact my shawl at all. It's the first time I'm doing it, so I'll have a short later so we can see how much it impacted things. But I've slip stitched into the single crochet space. I'm going to slip stitch into the next 3 double crochets. There we go. To the top of, right? That leaves 4 double crochet stitches not yet touched. I'm going to work a single crochet into that fourth double crochet. I'm going to chain 1. This is going to be different from the non-joining ones, right? This is like what I did, not what I did here. I'll show that later. So here, I call these ones the round ones. These ones the point ones. This should be able to be seen a little bit easier. So here you have point, round, point. It goes the whole way around in that order. You're going to have 8 points and then 8 rounds. This is a point start. And I'm going to insert my hook into the point here. And there actually is a chain 2 space with a non-joined point. So that's why it's really easy for me to get my hook into. I'm trying to think, do I want to join it yet or do I want to show you? I'll actually do, no, yeah, I'll do it this way. All right, so I insert my hook. I pull the yarn through. This is going to be a problem. Let me just take my yarn out real quick. Untangle it. So I don't want to work it in that. There we go. I'm going to come back to my motif I just created. I'm not going to chain anything. This is slightly different from how I built this up. Knowing it was not yet joined, it would be joined. So when you are doing your join as you go, you've only chained 1, you bring your yarn through, and then you go back into that same stitch, so back into the 4th double crochet, and you're going to work a single crochet. Now, whoops, move that out of the way. We're going to slip stitch into the next 3 of the double crochet. We're going to slip stitch into that chain, into that single crochet space. We're then going to slip stitch into the next 3 double crochet of the round one. And then we will actually not be working in at any point into, for any reason, the 4th double crochet of the round ones. I'm going to chain 1, and similar to what I just did on that previous one, there's a chain 2 spot that I can easily get my hook through. Let me just pull this apart so you can see it a little bit better. Put something behind it so you can see maybe a little bit better. Yeah. Anyway, insert my hook in there. Very easy, very easy. And I'm going to pull that through. I'm not going to chain anything. I'm just going to immediately slip stitch. I'm skipping that 4th double crochet because this is being worked above it. And I'm going to slip stitch into that 5th double crochet, then the 6th, then the 7th. I slip stitch into the single crochet. I think you can see where this joining pattern is going. I'm going to then slip stitch into the next 3 double crochets. So that was 2, here's 3. I'm going to work a single crochet into that 4th double crochet. I'm going to chain 1, pull up a little bit. Here's the point. Insert my hook, pull that through, work a single crochet. And then now I do slip stitch 1, 2, 3. I've finished with that point. I'm going to slip stitch into here. Now, this is not going to be joined to any of these. This is going to be joined, or rather have yarn attached to it when we get to the black connection bit, which is definitely going to be a different video because I just don't have time to go over that right now. Maybe I do. We'll see. I don't think I will. So here is what it would look like if I was just doing it around on this. I slip stitch into 1, 2, 3, I chain 2, and then I skip that 4th one and I slip stitch 3. 1, 2, 3. I've now completed my first round one, even though it looks like it had a little point. This is a round one. Now, if I turn my work, which there is a lot of, I'm going to be joining this one to this point. This will be a round one, which will get joined to the round one. This will be a point which will join here. And I think you can kind of see why these need to be points. They need to be able to meet each other without having these overlap too much. So slip stitch into your single crochet, slip stitch into your first 3 double crochets, do a single crochet, chain 1, pull my yarn some. I'm going to move this work a little bit more. Okay. So there's the bump we're not working into. Here's the pointy one. We're working into the chain 2 space from the prep. There we go. Then I'm coming back. I'm working a single crochet into that 4th double crochet and then slip stitch again. So 1, 2, 3, 1. That's the single crochet. Then we do our 3 slip stitch in this one. It's the double crochets. Chain 1, pull up a loop, find your bump, your round one, I should say. Pull that through, and then skipping that 4th double crochet, we're going to slip stitch into the remaining 3 double crochets, slip stitch into the single crochet, slip stitch into the first 3 double crochets of the next bump, work your single crochet in the 4th double crochet, chain 1, pull up your loop, insert your hook into your joining motif, into its point, pull it through, and then work a single crochet in there. We slip stitch, and now we have completed all of the join points for this particular motif when it comes to joining it to another one. So I'm going to turn all my work, and hopefully you can see a little bit better. Now what I'm going to be doing, let me try and move this so you don't have too many colors. Now this is the prep section. So you're going to see what the prep section looks like if you were starting out with your first motif with nothing to join. So this next one's going to be a round one because we just joined a pointy one. But if you're doing it, you're just starting out your first motif, it doesn't matter if you do a round or a point. So, but since I've already got a pattern, we got to go with that. So slip stitch into the first 3 double crochets. All right, here's your 4th double crochet. You're going to skip it. You're going to chain 2. And skipping that 4th one, we're going to single crochet into the 5th double crochet, the 6th double crochet, and the 7th double crochet. Now you slip stitch into your single crochet there. And now you slip stitch into your next, this is going to be the pointy one. Going to slip stitch in the next 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. In that 4th double crochet on the pointy one, you do a single crochet, chain 2, and then go back into the 4th one and do a single crochet. And now you have this nice little point. Slip stitch into the remaining 3, and you've now finished your prep for your point. All right. So now I'm going to repeat. I'm going to do a round one. So slip stitch 1, 2, 3, chain 2, skip your 4th double crochet, slip stitch into the 5th, 6th, and 7th double crochet. Now we're going on to a point. So we slip stitch into the single crochet, slip stitch into your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd double crochets, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, into your 4th double crochet, and then slip stitch into your remaining 3 double crochet. And you just repeat this pattern all the way through, alternating between your round set where you skip that 4th double crochet and you just chain 2 above it, and then into your point where you single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into your 4th double crochet. So pretty nice, very repetitive pattern. It's not the end of the world if you screw it up, especially if you haven't woven in your ends yet when you go to do the join, because I did make that mistake on one of my motifs, and thankfully I didn't weave in the ends. So I was able to actually redo the pattern up to the point where I needed it to be joined. But I don't think it's going to end the world, but you may end up with an issue where there's some unfortunate overlap if you join a round with a pointy, you know. So this is a round one. So slip stitch 1, 2, 3, chain 2, slip stitch 1, 2, 3. Now we're onto a point, so we do slip stitch 1, 2, 3, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, slip stitch 1, slip stitch 2, slip stitch 3. Oh shoot. What day is today? Oh, today's Wednesday. I'm good. It's like Thursday I have a meeting at 8:30. It's the only time the guy we need to talk to is available that day. Okay. Whew. All right. So now we're going on to a round one. So slip stitch 1, 2, 3, chain 2, slip stitch 1, 2, 3, and now we're back at the beginning. If you want to slip stitch back into the start, that's up to you. Perfectly fine. But I am going to call it on this. And now, since I've already woven in one of the ends from earlier, I only have one end that I need to weave in. Previously, when I was doing this, I was starting with a standing double crochet here. I was doing my slip stitch, my join, slip stitch, my join, do my slip stitch, my join, and then I was fastening off here and not doing anything with this, which meant I had to weave in an end here, an end here, an end here, an end here, and then so forth. And I don't like weaving in ends, so I altered the pattern that's in my mind, right? I altered it for my my clearance yarn shawl, because I was like, well, it's for me, and I want, if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, and no one's gonna have to have some sort of subpar crochet item that I made, and 2, I don't want to be frustrated having to weave in a ton of ends, so I just altered it. I was gonna say shifted, but I altered it in a way that makes it so I don't have to weave in a lot of ends. Makes me a happy camper, and it also means that I have already woven in all the ends thus far. Previously, it's taken me hours because I'd wait till the very end to weave everything in, and Oh, and this is just a magnetic hematite rock, so I can not lose my needles. It's great. So anyway, there we go. That is a complete motif along with how I join it. So like I said, when you have a starting motif, you can sort of prep the edges if you don't want to weave in a lot. And then from there, you just join as you go. Making sure to leave your round ones so that your round ones point in towards each other. And then in a different video, I will go over how I do this. And this just helps give more stability to the different motifs. So they're not having to pull at these parts without having any further support. So if this was to pull, then these would pull, and they would be able to share the pulling load between 4 as opposed to just 2. But yeah, so that is it. Hope you all have a great day. If anyone ever does watch this, and if I'm still around, you've got questions, just put them in the comment and I'll do my best to answer them. And if I can't answer them in a way that makes it clear in the comments, I will make a little video, and I'll let you know and provide you a link to the video where I answer your questions a little bit better. Because I don't believe in gatekeeping, gatekeeping crochet knowledge. I completely understand. Do not take this the wrong way. I completely understand gatekeeping patterns in the fact that someone spent a lot of time on a pattern. They're selling the pattern. So you shouldn't be sharing parts of those patterns out there unless maybe you're asking for clarification. It's a small portion of that pattern. But if it's a free pattern, provide the link to people. And yeah. So that's it. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your week or whatever day of the week it is. Bye.